Welcome to this live stream. Yeah, so we had an amazing eyeball hunt, and I realized that even with the 5 mile, please do send me some photos. Happy to ID some things for you. Hey, Jimmy Jones, Jan. We got Jan G in here, Jimmy Jones, fantastic channel supporters, both of them. Just really great. Good to see both of you all tonight. Yeah, so we had an amazing eyeball hunt, and I had to get in here, and even with an extended amount of time here, a 30-minute episode this past Friday night. If you haven't seen it, please go see it. I will probably update this live stream with a link. Yeah, hey Jimmy. I'll probably update this live stream with a link to show you all. Hey, Cajun Way, welcome, buddy. To show you all some of the stuff. You know, if you didn't catch that live stream, definitely catch us out in the field. It's my wife and I, Digger Girl, and we found a ton of stuff. Over 40 bottles, over 90 marbles, dozens of beads, all kinds of other metal finds, buttons, just oddball stuff, and yeah. So I'm going to go through all of that stuff here tonight. I haven't had time to even research a lot of this stuff. I have tried to get out and do a little bit of digging here. It's just darn hot. I mean, too hot to dig. Really is too hot to dig. But I've been out in it. And making some good finds, and just dealing with the heat. So I wanted to start off with these bottles. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of bottles behind that. There's trays of buttons and marbles and all kinds of random stuff, coins. So I'll get to all of that here in a second. Yeah, thanks so much, 5 Mile. Yeah, I can't believe how loaded this field was. But yeah, it's a real pleasure to get out and eyeball bottles. It seems like the tiny bottles, what we call tiny bottles, are the bottles that survive the plow the most. So that's most of what we find. The larger the bottle is, the less likely we have an example of it. But I just wanted to show you all some of those. So let's get started with the show and tell. Cajun Way, yeah. Water hunts are definitely. Water hunts are definitely the place to be this time of year. So I got these two bottles. We got these two bottles. They're both Vicks Vapor Rub bottles. I just like them. I like a cobalt bottle. It's just nice. One day I'll probably stop keeping these newer ones like this, but until then, why not? So that's the only two cobalt bottles that we found. Cajun Way, so you're looking for ferry routes. Wow. You know, in other states, I've found a couple of ferry routes. I got into a field years ago down by a river in Virginia, and I was looking for a ferry route, and I found it on one side, but I didn't find it on the other side. But on the side I found it on, there was this field where it had been kind of a floodplain of the river, and everything was deep. And so I would just basically dig a hole. And hey, DF, how's it going, my friend? I would just basically dig a hole and then go down and just scan the bottom of the hole and then fill the hole back in. I couldn't hear anything. Every target there was, 18 inches, 20 inches down. And so I would just dig a hole, and it was exhausting work, scan the bottom. And I found a ton of coins that way. I found a beautiful 1888 seated dime. I found Flying Eagle cent, found some Indian head cents down in the bottom of those holes. I think I found a large cent too. But yeah, some great stuff. But yeah, those ferry routes are definitely where they're at. Another place is creek crossings, and a lot of people don't think much about this, but every old map that you look at, everybody's finding all the house sites. But take a look at where those roads cross creeks. That's all I'm going to say. At any rate, I would imagine that is some sort of Vicks. These are the green bottles that we found. That's probably some sort of Vicks competitor, if I had to hazard a guess. Probably like a mentholatum or something. I like it. It's in nice shape. No clue what part of these bottles are. They've got date codes on the bottom of them, a lot of them. So I don't think they're very old. I think these two may be the same. Similar, but not the same. Different sizes. So if anybody knows what any of these bottles are, definitely shout it out, because it'll save me a little bit of time, because I'm a little overwhelmed with trying to look all this stuff up. So so there's a couple of green bottles that I found. This is another one with a date code. Notice it's kind of got that shape to it, kind of oval. Yeah, so I don't know. Have you all been out digging much? What have you all been into? Have you all been finding anything, or is it too hot? Yeah, 5 Mile. I hear you. Always. There's a ton of medicine in here. That's probably some sort of a medicine bottle, cough syrup or something. That could be a sample bottle. I'm not sure. That's kind of got a. Oh, maybe it has something on the bottom. What does that say? CB Arns, AC Barnes. Well, that's a bottle that I could look up here. AC Barnes. Not a clue. If somebody wants to have a Google at that, I'll drop it in the chat here. So that somebody can help. No idea what that is. And then this one, I'm sure, is some sort of an extract bottle. It's probably like a sours extract or something. You see those, sometimes they have a little bit of a paneling on the sides. DF Digger says, a tiny little stream that runs through my town, got a nice carriage bell and a bunch of goodies. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. That is great. Everybody loves this water hunting, and I am longing for the water hunting after some of this that I've been through recently. That just has a W and then a 227. I don't know whether that's a 1927 date code, but that's a cute little bottle. Wonder if that's like a what do they put in it? I'm kind of fried right now from being out digging in this heat. Wonder if it's like something that you would put under your tongue in the event of a heart attack, something like that. But kind of a cute little bottle. 5 Mile says, been a little, but it's been so dang hot here in Missouri. Yeah, I hear you. Stumbling on some bottle dumps recently, so now I'm getting really into it. But where do I put them all now? Yeah, space is an issue with bottles. Everything looks good until it starts to overrun your house. This is just a panel patent medicine bottle, and likewise has a date code in the bottom and a screw top, so that's not incredibly old. The seam goes only up to there, I think. It might go all the way. Yeah, I think it goes all the way up, so it might be a mold, but don't get too excited about these slick patent medicines. DF says, I didn't go out today because of the heat. Mid-70s coming soon. Oh, wow. Yeah, sweet. Sweet. Mid-70s. So I expected this when I pulled this out of the dirt. I expected this to have, hey, keep digging, metal detecting. How's it going, my friend? I expected this to have a sprinkler top on the end, like a pepper sauce or something. I have no idea. That's a really distinctive shape. You would think that somebody would know what that was. Mystic, how's it going? I'm going through all of these finds that we made in this eyeball hunt. My wife and I mean, gosh. Yeah, I don't know what year we went from cork to screw top. I don't know that right offhand. Like I said, I'm kind of flying blind here because I got so much stuff to try to ID. It just took forever to get it all clean. FYI, what I do a lot of times with these, I have a lot of pieces of bent wire that I've also dug, just copper wire from various sites of different sizes, and I'll just take some sort of a Brillo pad, and I'll just go over the outside of a bottle, and then I'll stuff a little bit of the Brillo pad down in and take that wire and kind of just run it around, and it works really nicely to clean bottles, that that you're not going to spend a whole lot of time on. At any rate, I think it's a cool bottle. I have no idea what was in that. I haven't seen that bottle ever. And I have no other examples of it. So kind of odd. On the bottom it just says a P in a circle, 504, and then 11 looks like. So no idea. Let's see. Bottles and porcelain are my weakness. LOL. Cajun Way says, yeah, I hear you on that. And they're my wife's weakness too, because she would go out and dig bottles till the cows came home. This is, I don't know, some sort of an extract or something as well, I would imagine. It's also got a P in a circle and 2 different date codes on the bottom. Both of those are identical. Those may be also extract bottles of some sort. No idea. I like them. I guess we'll save them. I generally see what the nicest example is, and then I'll pull the nicest example and save that, and let some of the other ones go to recycling sometimes. That one cleaned up really nicely. I'm assuming that's some sort of medicine bottle. Cajun Way says, I believe late 1800s they switched to screw top. You could be right, my friend. I'm not, I don't remember that right off. These Listerine bottles, these Lambert Pharmaceutical Company bottles, I find a lot of these. I think these are probably not that old. But, you know, again, like when you see something in a plowed field and you're like, wow, it escaped the plow for 50, 75 years, you just kind of, you just feel like you got to pick it up, So there are those 2 Listerine bottles. This one has a chip out of it, so I probably won't keep that. I've got probably 30 of these on a shelf. So I probably will not keep all of those. This bottle, I'm trying to figure out what that would be from. It definitely had a cork. I'm wondering if it's some sort of an ink. It's an unusual shape. It does have a mark on the bottom. It looks like an H and an A, or an H and an R. And then 6K484. So unusual shape there. With the shoulder, like a cone ink made me think ink, but it could be like a shoe polish or some other type of a bottle, but definitely had a cork closure. So A.C. Barnes, born 1872, American chemist. Little history. Nice. That was that A.C. Barnes bottle that we had earlier. This bottle right here. Thanks so much, Jan. Wow. A.C. Barnes. Very cool. So that's some sort of drug bottle. Hey, Rain, how's it going? Hey, Mystic. Yeah, welcome, everybody. Good to see you all, my friends. Yeah, thanks so much, Jan. Once again, Jan. Jan's an excellent channel member and subscriber, and also contributes monthly to my channel. So thank you so much, Jan. Thank you so much, Jimmy Jones, another amazing channel member. Just very generous, and really appreciate both of y'all's support. So let's see, 1858 they started screw top mason jars. Interesting. Hey, Colonel. How's it going, my friend? Good to see you. Very nice to see you. So we're just going through all the eyeball finds, because we had so many darn eyeball finds last hunt that we couldn't feature them all. These are all aspirin bottles, Bayer aspirin. And they're all screw top, and they all have date codes. And I don't think it was all that long ago that aspirin was in a glass bottle. It was probably, I guess, the 70s, maybe. But once again, I see so many of these, and I think, gosh, it would be a shame not to pick one up. And I have to figure out all these date codes. I'm going to have to be an expert here on mid-century modern glass. Yeah, so pretty wild. Gosh. Yep, there's 4 more aspirin bottles. I probably have 30 aspirin bottles. So we're gonna add 4 more to the list. What I ought to do is I ought to do a bottle giveaway and start giving some of these extras away. What do y'all think? Give them out as prizes for my channel for various things. Might be a good way to get rid of some of the bulk of this. I think this is probably also, hey Johnny, thanks so much for sharing this out. I think this is also probably some sort of a medicine bottle. Yeah, I agree. Anything with embossing definitely gets me excited too. 5 Mile. You don't find too much with embossing. It just shows you how rare embossed bottles are. This one is definitely a medicine bottle. You can see what looks like they're 3.5. It's interesting because I think some of the older ones, I think a lot of the older ones had the medical script. You know, looks like 3IJ, but it's really 3II. But it's a dram, 2 drams basically, and that's just to show you how strong the medicine was. But that is a cork job right there, and so I like that. I'm a sucker for old medicine bottles, and that one's a cute one. So good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing that out, Johnny Smallpepper. Appreciate that so much. And welcome, my friend. This is a really common Louisiana bottle, Dr. Tishner's antiseptic. They still sell this in stores. The company's still in existence. There's the antiseptic. You find all different ages of this. This one's a fairly new one. It's got a screw top, but I've got them in about 5 different styles going back to the 1880s or 90s or so, including cork top bottles and so forth, aquas, and ones that don't have the date code but were made in a mold. So it's kind of neat to have those. Dr. Tishner was a Confederate soldier who famously said that he would not treat any Union soldier that was wounded with his antiseptic. What a dirtbag. But billed himself as a medical doctor, and then started this company, and he didn't really have any sort of doctor experience. And there are a lot of things in his accounts that don't add up. So kind of a controversial figure, but the antiseptic is still going, still made the same way after all these years. So pretty wild. Let's see what else we have here. Some of these bottles are just small, like sample type bottles. No clue what would have been in those. Could have been some sort of, could have even been a spice of some sort. This one is definitely some sort of medicine. Has a date code, but as you can see, it's got a cork top. The seam goes all the way up on both sides. So interesting little bottle, cute one. You know, these small bottles, you know, with or without a sprinkler top, probably perfumes, if I had to guess. Probably all of these little bottles were perfumes. Perfume, the amount of perfume bottles is just staggering. I mean, just, you find these things all day, and I've found them going back to like Tombstone style, mid-1800s perfumes, and toilet water and things like that. They call them toilet waters. So you would put the perfume on, you know, after you went to the bath. So pretty cool. Lots of these types of things. I'm assuming that this one is probably also a perfume with a sprinkler top. Typically, these sprinkler top bottles that have this little closure, those types of bottles were when you had something that you really didn't want to, really didn't want to use much of, you know, so you would just dab a little bit on. Something that was either very strong or something that you wanted to conserve. So pepper sauces were also in sprinkler top bottles, you know, because they were very strong, so you wouldn't want a lot of it on your food, per se. Let's see here. Probably another perfume, most likely. all these perfumes were really like proprietary, and all their bottles are different and small. Yeah, everyone was smellier back then, Mystic says. Yeah, I bet they were. They didn't bathe as often as we do these days. This is another cork bottle. No idea. That could be a medicine bottle of some sort. This one is most definitely a perfume, as elaborate as it is. It's got a little chip there at the bottom. Hey, Julie, how's it going? Welcome, my friend. Good to see you. That's kind of an interesting shape, and I just kept that because I really like that. You know, that kind of cut lead crystal look to it. It's got, it's just a, you know, it was a very swanky looking bottle back in the day. So even though that's got a chip out here, unfortunately, one of these days I may find another one of those, in which case I will probably get rid of this one and keep a nicer one. Let's see, 5 Miles says, too funny, I just noticed you're wearing a Band-Aid on the same place I am. Yeah, glass cut. Yeah, imagine how that happened. From cleaning these bottles. You know, you get to scrub it on the outside of them, and then you don't realize that one of these little facets has a little shard out or something around the rim, and you can't really see it, and you just going like this, and yeah. And it takes hours to clean all these little bottles up. You know, that's the crappy thing about all of this is it's just endless. You know, we go on an eyeball hunt, and then I'll spend 3 days trying to get everything clean. All the marbles, all the bottles, and everything. It's just crazy. Art Deco, 1920s to 40s, Mystic says, yeah, okay, great information there on that little triangular bottle. This one definitely had a glass stopper, and you can see because it had that. It has this kind of I forget what that's called, but it's got that little rough inside there. And that may be an older bottle, but it's a nice one, and I like it. I found a lot of the glass stoppers. Yeah. So yeah, really cool. Let's see. Then we have this one. 5 Miles says, I put them in buckets and soak them for a couple of days. Yeah, I generally soak them, and then I take a Brillo pad and go over the outside. And then I take I cut the Brillo pad and force whatever size down in, and then take a piece of wire, because I've got like 10 different gauges of wire all bent to different angles and stuff. And I'll go inside and I'll push that wire up against the side of the bottle and just scrub it. And so that's how I get these as clean as they are. But this one still had this little glass pipette, which you can see is hollow. And I assume that this was just to go in, and this was inside of this bottle. I assume that was just so you could go in and cover that, and then it would fill this, and you could then dab that. But I've just never found one with the pipette still intact. I think that's pretty amazing when you think that survived in a plowed field. As delicate as that piece of glass is, that's just wild. Pretty neat. Yeah. So, oh yeah, thanks so much, 5 Mile. Yeah, I've tried to put out some helpful videos here about cleaning glass and other finds. Now we have 3 interesting bottles. The first one of these, I don't know what it held. It's kind of got a couple chips out. It's got a chip down there. But as you can maybe see, it has a boy at a school desk. And it's got these little lines here, and I'm not sure if those are graduations for measuring medicine or not. But you can see it's got a boy at a school desk here on one side, and then the other side just these graduations, which it has to be some sort of a dosage line. But the bottom has no marks whatsoever, even though it's slightly cracked. No idea what that was for. It's so small. Ink refill, Mystic says, could be. That would make sense with this design, but I've never seen a bottle like that. And, it's really hard even with Google Lens to even find anything online. So I like it. Just never seen anything like that before. And then I do have 2 here that are both marked, that I did that I was able to look up here. So the first one of these is Hoyt's. This is a perfume, and it says F. Hoyt and Company, perfumer, and then it says Phila, Phila. It's got a chip out down here, but I think my wife actually was the one that found this. Would have had a cork stopper. 1868, Eli Hoyt created Hoyt's cologne, and it got rebranded as Hoyt's German cologne. And then I guess it says E. Hoyt and Company instead of F. Hoyt. And so that was 1870s. And this fragrance was roses, violets, cloves, and citrus. And by the 1890s, it was in the Montgomery Ward catalog, and they had different sizes of it, and you could buy it pretty cheaply for 5 or 10 cents. Now, I'm imagining that this bottle is 1910s or 20s, if I had to guess. So, kind of an interesting one. Yeah, this might turn purple in sunlight. Hard to know. But yeah, so I like that little bottle very much. And then there's this bottle, which is actually a dosage cup or a dose measure glass. You can see that this was burned in a trash pit because unfortunately it's kind of deformed there. We don't have much choice over how the relics make it to us, but this says here Quina La Roche, if you can see that. Quina, and then La Roche, Laroche. So Quina La Roche was an anti-malarial tonic, and it was from France. Consisted of fortified wine, Catalonian wine, that was fortified, and I think it says also here, what does that say there? Measure, it says, M-E-S-U-R-E. There's no A in there. I guess that's mesure in French. But on the bottom it says La Roche as well. And so I like that a lot. So that was advertised for use against anemia and malaria and exhaustion. And of course, the main ingredient was quinine. So it did help against malaria. Most of the old ads I've seen for this cure date from about the 1880s to about 1915. And once again, it should have been round. It was melted in a trash pit fire. It's kind of a relative of Grove's Tasteless Chill Tonic, which was also very popular in Louisiana due to the prevalence of malaria here in early times. So I like that a lot. One other bottle that I kind of wanted to share is this bottle. And this, yeah, like the English gin and tonic, yeah. Yeah, quinine, yeah. This bottle, I'm surprised that it survived because the fragile thin brass cap survived, and the plastic. It might even be some sort of other thing besides plastic. And then this bottle, the top is a sprinkler top, and it's very obviously some sort of a either a drop medicine or more than likely some sort of perfume. Bottom is unmarked. So I just thought that was way cool that all survived in a field. You just don't see that very often, especially these thin brass caps. You can see that it's got a crack running up it, so pretty awesome. Yeah. Roll on, yeah, could have been. Yeah, that interesting, that curve in the sprinkler top. So that's not very common. All right, so now let's move on to some beads. You all like some beady little finds. So we found a whole ton of beads here, and I've just been keeping a lot of these in these bins. Most of them are plastic. A lot of things that are plastic. Would it be cool to find a perfume bottle with a perfume still in it? That bottle that I just showed you still smelled like perfume. It still had that scent. And occasionally you can still get a smell from some of these bottles as you're cleaning them, which is pretty wild. But some of these, a lot of these are plastic beads. I'm going to remove some of the plastic ones now. Some of them are glass, but very few. That's a glass bead, a little tiny yellow thing. This is plastic, 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 plastic. This is glass, and this is glass. So that's kind of neat. These two are plastic. This one, plastic. This one is glass. This little bead here. Hey, Face the Ace, how's it going, my friend? Good to see you. Most of these are plastic. I think these three are all plastic. And this one's plastic. Okay, now this one is faceted glass. I'm doing just fine, my friend. I'm a little exhausted from being out in the heat and trying to dig some things today. But that is a very tiny, it's not a Russian blue, but it's a very tiny faceted glass bead. I don't know how in the heck my wife saw that, but she did. She's eagle eyes. This is a glass bead also. It's kind of got some faceting on the sides of it. And then, of course, love any sort of glass bead that's wound around a mandrel like this is. So that's actually older than the site. Hey, Mud Swat, how's it going, my friend? We're going through a bunch of these. If you just arrived, we're going through a bunch of the finds from the last episode, so definitely go and watch that. You'll get to see all this stuff come up. I just finished going through about 40 bottles. I'm going to go through some marbles and coins and all kinds of other buttons and all kinds of surface finds here in a second. Yeah, good to see you, Mud Swat. But Mud says he's never found a bead or old marble ever. My gosh, Mud, we got to get you over some old stuff. Anyhow, I love that cobalt bead that was wound around a mandrel. That's probably mid-1800s. It could have been something that somebody saved and then lost, like an heirloom on a later site, or it could have been something that somebody lost while passing through. But that's definitely probably 50 years older, 75 years older than any of those other beads. So kind of interesting. But yeah, those are the beads. Let's see what else we got here. We got some buttons, and then I'm going to move on to marbles and then random things here. We usually have the typical buttons, which are all the Prosser buttons and so forth. Did get this weird thing, which I think is a button. Had an iron back, and then I've got one glass Victorian era button with the brass shank. So that's the late 1800s. Mud Swat says, it's just because I've always been too into the detecting finds to look for marbles. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And then my wife got this, which is a Great Seal coat button, overcoat button. That was just laying. These are all eyeball finds. So that was just laying on top of the ground, just like sitting like that. We figured it was probably World War II or World War I at that size. Figured it probably was not Civil War era, but I have eyeballed some Civil War buttons in eyeball spots. In fact, you can go see, gosh, what episode is it? I think it's literally got the script I button that I eyeballed sitting there. Also found, I've eyeballed 2 bayonets in spots and a tip off of a 3rd bayonet. So pretty wild. And then this is a shoe button cover, and that would have slid down over that little notch there, would have slid down over a woman's shoe. So women's shoes in the teens and 20s had a strap that came across the ankle. Like if you're looking at the toe of the shoes down here and you're looking at the ankle up there, that strap came over with a button, okay, and you would put this over the button as a decorative element. Pretty cool. Mud Swat says your surface finds are insane. Yeah, thanks so much, my friend. Yeah, it's a lot of work this time of year to get out there and eyeball all this stuff, but we get it done. We get it done. All right, now here's the 90-something marbles that we found. I am just absolutely shocked that we set out to break our record, and we broke our record. All of these marbles on this side have some sort of damage. It's unfortunate. Even marbles that you think, oh, maybe they look pretty good, they all have some sort of damage on them over there. And they go back to the 1800s, because we've got some clay marbles and porcelain marbles. But the ones over here are nicer. So I'm going to go actually through those individually just to show you all what those look like. And I'm just going to put them kind of aside here. Maybe I'll stick them in with the beads as I go through. I put this one here because this one is just like, this is crazy. Like, you don't find one of these like shooter marbles. That is just that's just a chrome knife handle that I use to just kind of separate the better marbles from the worst marbles. Probably no marble collector would want any of these, but you never know. I have found some things that were more rare, but I never find a marble of that size that's complete, because they make such a good target for the plow. So, it would be lovely if these things weren't chipped. Almost all of them have some sort of damage. This is very, Mudswat says, I've held a $10,000 marble before. What kind of crazy marble was that? That's nuts. But, almost all of these have some sort of damage on them, even if it's light. But I just think they're just gorgeous. Some of the nicer ones are really, really, really pretty. And you can see the little surface marks here that come from being in the ground and being stirred around for decades. Some of these, as they dried off, I realized that they're not as nice as I thought they were. So I'm going to go ahead and stick them over. But some of them survived pretty well. Oh, it was a shooter, Mud says. And DF says, let's see. I found a German swirl onion skin marble on a stream. Those go for serious money. Yeah, I've only ever found 2 German swirls that were not beat to death. And I'm thinking about getting one of them restored. I like this marble a lot. Look at that. Just nice. If anybody wants to ID any of these marbles, feel free to, write it in a comment or write it in the chat. Especially these nicer ones, so that I know what they are. Like, again, I haven't had a chance to look anything up. That's not as nice as I thought it might be. Once they dry, you can really tell. Everything becomes pretty clear that if something's damaged or chipped. That one's got some damage and chips, you can see now. You can also feel it. But yeah, pretty amazing. Cajun Way says, I'm hunting a site right now where my sister found a sack of clay marbles by a tree. Wow, that's pretty cool. But I mean, look at these. They're just, every once in a while you get a stunner. Cajun Way says, I found a Victorian lady's watch the other day. Heck yeah. Was it a small size watch, Cajun Way? Because a lot of times the ladies' watches will, orange with cream, orange with white swirls are called cream cycle marbles. Interesting. Julie says, the only marbles I own are the marbles that came with my Bumblebee drink station. This is just like a cat's eye kind of marble, but it was not damaged, so I figured I would set it aside. This one is in good shape. So again, I think you'd be hard pressed to find one that was in a field that somebody would want who actually collects them. But I do try to rescue the ones that I feel like don't have as much damage. This one didn't have much damage to it. That's nice. And this may be from the same package as the other one. It looks like similar colors. A lot of times you'll find things from similar packages. Oh yeah, I need to shine a black light on these and see. Occasionally I'll find one that's got uranium glass in it. And I like to put those aside because I think they're cool. Anyhow, so there's 90 some marbles. We broke our record. Our previous record, I think, was 88. The record before that was like 82 or 83 or 86, I forget. Plugs for days. Hey, bro. Hey, how's it going, my friend? It's good to see you. Yeah, hope everything's going well. Stranger. Yeah, very cool. It's good to see you all. So let's see here. What else do we have? Oh, we've got some interesting things here. Got a whole bunch of stuff here that's weird, okay? So this is, Mudswat says, I joined a Facebook group called Marble Identification a few days ago. Yeah, I've seen that group. I just don't want to spam them because I find, 300 to 500 marbles a year. So I could totally spam them. But this has to be from some sort of an old stoneware jug or something. That has to just be the top of one. I just think that's really cool. I assume that it just went down to the top of a jar like that. Yeah, just really interesting. Like, you don't expect to see that in a field. You almost think it's a dirt clod, and then you're like, what is that? But yeah, that's kind of interesting. Let's see. This is interesting. This is very sharp on the bottom because it's broken. But this lid says Grasselli across the top here. Grasseli. And it is Grasselli Chemical Company of Cincinnati, Ohio. So Grasselli Chemical Company closed in 1928. It opened in 1839. I would imagine this is like turn of the century or up to the 20s. And in 1928, it merged with DuPont. And all I know is that it's specialized in sulfuric acid. So that's not anything I've ever seen before. I'll probably take a little Dremel tool and kind of file these off, and so that it's not going to cut me like that. Anyhow, Grasselli Chemical Company. Mudswat says those lids had a wire that pushed over the top of the bottles to seal it. Oh yeah, so the wire would come up there and, like, I guess stick in that groove. Is that right, Mud? Kind of like a wire closure to keep the lid on. Huh. That's cool. Yeah, Mud says, yeah, that's really neat. I learned something today. Now, I don't know what the heck this is. Like that's a rock. I almost wonder if that was like some sort of, I just don't know what it is. I mean, isn't that the strangest rock you've ever seen? It just stuck out like a sore thumb. It's green. I mean, it's literally green. Like, what in the world is that? I mean, it's not metallic. Doesn't set a detector off. It's stone or a mineral of some sort. So I just tossed it in the bin. I was just saying, I'll save that. Wonder if somebody had some sort of a mineral collection or something, and some kid and lost that. Could be turquoise. It'd have to be like raw turquoise. I mean, I don't know what it looks like, but I'm definitely going to Google that now. Just never seen anything like that before. It's really strange. Some souvenir, something somebody brought back from somewhere. I mean, we don't have anything like that in Louisiana, I'll tell you that for sure. Nothing like that. So maybe I'll take it to a geologist and have him spit some truth at me. Here's one of these stoppers, like would go in a medicine bottle or a similar item. This is like a base of some sort of a little goblet or something. Looks pretty old. It's broken. I might file that off and save that. I don't know. This is just odds and ends. I found a really nice stopper, and really, really nice stopper. So pleased with that. From a really ritzy bottle. Got several of these ceramic casters. Cajun Way says an Indian could have brought it from somewhere. That's true. I have found some Native American things, and those are not natural here either. So they were all brought in from somewhere else. But we've got in our state, we've got Poverty Point, which proves that there's trade It's a fascinating thing to visit. It's a state park. It proves that Native American trade was really widespread, really widespread, like multiple states, hundreds of miles away. Anyhow, so those various casters we found, and then there's this. Hey, Northern Found. Hello, my friend. Got that celluloid button. I think she found that. Not sure what this thing is. We got a bunch of odds and ends here that are kind of interesting. Not sure what that is. Almost looks like a nozzle. Weird. No clue. It's a chess piece now. Lots of baby doll arms and legs and various things. So this is some sort of a little Dutch boy, I guess. Broken figurine. I don't know what he had. What do he have? Maybe a backpack or a sword or a club or a hobo sack across his back. Sink faucet handle, BB. Huh. Yes, I could see that. So I guess that would be attached there, and there'd be an attachment that would keep that on. Huh. Mud says he thinks it's an old wire insulator. That could be as well, like ball and tube wiring. Yeah, but this could be either one of those things. I'm gonna have to look at both of those things. Hello, Tra-La. Glad you're here. Tra-La digs. And here's a head. Little doll head. So those are kind of interesting. And then I have, let's see, a bunch of doll legs and various things here. Doll arms and legs. With the painted garters, with the sizes marked and so forth. And then this is when I looked at my wife and I was like, is that a guy butt or a girl butt? Is that a frozen Charlotte or a frozen Charlie? And she was like, you can't tell. I'm like, well, the front's broken off, so you can't tell that way either. But I just said it's an androgynous butt. Let's see. Got, the typical, 20th century brass buttons like this. And we find these from time to time. It's hard to not pick those up when you see them. Even the aluminum buttons. It's hard not to pick those up when you see them. These are normally 1920s patents, these aluminum buttons are. Let's see, 5 Miles says, remember now I just did win. Are you smarter than a relic hunter? Yeah, I don't know. For all of our, all of our excitement, we don't act too smart sometimes, and I'm included in that. All of us, but we're trying to learn. This is a die. It's kind of made out of some sort of celluloid, or it was the material that they made the old radios at Bakelite, something like that. So it was kind of cool to find that. We've also found lead dice from the 1800s and earlier in fields, just eyeballed. Then my wife found this jewel. Every costume ring, every costume piece of jewelry had little jewels in it, and they all just, got beaten up by the plow, and, they're all in the field somewhere. So, you eventually find one. I have found real gemstones, eyeballed real gemstones that have tested to be real. This one is paste, though. You can tell just by looking at it, it's kind of cloudy. But she likes that a lot, and I like it too. Then let's get to the coins here. She got a wheat cent, and there's a crusty wheat. And then I found a buffalo. And I think I can almost see a date there. I think it's like 1928 or 1926. So that was another eyeballed find. Mudswat, Tony over at 5280 Adventures has one. I was on it Sunday. Relic Hunter game show. Yeah, there's a Relic Hunter quiz show. 5280 Adventures. Yep, totally. Tony has every Sunday trivia game, so go check that out. I have no trouble giving him a shout out. So there's an eyeballed buffalo. And then she had an eyeballed V nickelage, and I think it's a V. Oh, nope, you know what? It's not a V. It's a shield. You can just barely see, yeah, there in the light. You can see the vertical lines in the shield there at the bottom. Yep, that's a really worn eyeballed shield nickel. Pretty wild. So shield and a buffalo. If you were playing the nickel guessing game, you would have gotten that right if you guessed shield. Anyhow, so those are the finds, just some pottery shards and some stuff in there. Yeah, I wanted to show you all of that. I figured it would take a while, and it did. We're already at 50 minutes. I have 2 more things that I want to show you all. I'm pretty excited to share. One of those things is a set of books that I finally got the last book in the set. I'm pretty excited to have those. The other thing is something that I found at a junk store, because I'm always looking at junk. When I'm not digging junk, I'm looking at junk. So the first thing I'll share, I guess, is this junk store find. CM, thanks so much. Appreciate you. Yeah, and thank you for being a member here. I really appreciate you. CM Digger's our newest channel member. In order to support my channel, it can be as little as $4.99 a month. That's the Buy Me Coffee stage. You can also support a hunt if you want to do more. I just have the 2 levels because this, let's face it, this is not a moneymaker. It's a time loser. It's kind of like digging. And anybody that's going to get rich quick digging is it just has another thing coming. And the same thing is true of making videos. But I appreciate you all so much because it's nice to know that somebody values it. And thank you so much, CM. Appreciate you. I bought this for $5, and I think that this key is actually pretty darn old. It's very heavy. You can see that it went in a seriously heavy-duty lock. My hunch was that as irregularly shaped as it is, and the fact that I see a little bit of some finishing marks here, I'm assuming that these keys were cast and then filed. I do see some filing marks here, and so my hunch is that that key is old. The other thing that tips me off is that it looks like, you see there's a seam there, right here in this iron. And so I imagine that that was formed in a blacksmith, with a blacksmith, and then forged and then bent over, I imagine. I don't really know how these were made. I assume that they were cast in a mold, but they might have been literally beaten and then filed to the shape of the lock. That I don't know. But at any rate, there's a seam there. You can't really see it that much on the inside, but you can see that it's kind of been finished and it's been bent over there. But I just like that a lot. I think $5, can't go wrong with that. Interesting key. No idea what it went to, but it's definitely heavy. Then last of all, let's see, MudSwat says that key is unique. It would turn a keyhole at multiple angles, look likely a lockbox key. Yeah, that would be really cool if it's a lockbox key. Pretty awesome. Okay, so this last little bit here is that I had owned these books for a while, and I highly recommend these. This is Donald Van Court's Transportation Uniform Buttons. This is volume 2. Okay, there's 3 volumes. They're not easy to find, and they're not cheap. If you can find them, gosh, I bought one of them for $30, which was a huge find. I bought one of them for $50, which was another huge find because they're normally like $150 bucks. The other volume, volume 3, I had owned, is this one had a dust jacket on it, is Maritime and Aviation. So if you ever find a button where you're like, it's just like letters on it or something, it's like an abbreviation or monogram, and you want to try to figure out what it is, then you can look them up in these books, because if they're not a military button, then they have to be some sort of either maritime, aviation, transportation, so trolleys, streetcars, trains, things like that. There's a whole book on trains, and I'd wanted that book for a long time, and I finally got it. I had to pay a bit for it because, but if you can find it for less than $200, then like this is the way these books get. Once they go out of print, they just go astronomically high. Even the book that I modeled, my own book, my relic book, which is coming out in October. The first ad for it will actually be in American Digger magazine here in the September-October issue. But I modeled it on Bill Dancy's first book, Discovering Artifacts of Colonial Virginia, I think it was called. And that book is now astronomical in price. So, you have to buy these books when you can, because otherwise they're gone. And I remember last night on the American Digger live stream, Jeff was on there, Jeff Lubert, and he basically said, if you see something you wanted to show, don't leave it there and come back to it and expect that somebody will leave it there for you. Grab it while you can. And so I feel the same way about books. I've got a huge library of books. So this is transit buttons. So this has all of the streetcars and trolleys and things like that, and various other lines and short gauge railways and things like that. This is maritime and aviation, so that has any sort of commercial airlines. It has all kinds of buttons that are, any sort of steamer ship or anything like that, or a packet line, or things like that. That's pretty awesome. And so finally, I found the third volume, which is volume 1, which is the hardest to get, and that's the railroad one. So I've already helped a couple people, including Larry Hockman, ID a button that he had out of this book. So I'm really excited to have it. I've wanted it for a while, and I just really wanted to ID a couple buttons that I've found in the past and see if I could make sense of them. Let's see. Can't wait to buy your book. Thanks so much, Jan. Yeah. I can't wait to be done and see it finally in print. But it's not long now. 5 Miles says, did you see my bullseye canteen on the cover of the latest issue? Yes, absolutely. Great relic. Wow. I just wanted to tell you all about those books. If you don't know, that's a comprehensive book. It's anything that's not a military button, that's not a school button or an institution button, or a post office button or a similar governmental institution or whatever, or fraternal button. There's no book yet on fraternal buttons that I know of. There's a book on fraternal swords, but there's not a book on fraternal buttons. So if you're looking for something to do, get out there and spend 15 or 20 years collecting and then write a book on fraternal buttons, because we need one. Thanks. Public service announcement. But if it's not one of those other buttons, then it's probably going to be in here, even if it doesn't say railway or something that makes you think that it's one of these transportation buttons. Every one of those transportation guys had a uniform, and that's where their buttons were. So I guess I'll wrap things up here. It's been an hour, and I'm pretty tired from this heat today. So I want to thank you all for coming out to the live stream. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Lots of eyeball finds. Gosh, just crazy eyeball finds, and we're really blessed to be able to get out and to know where those spots are where we can, find 90 marbles in a field. It's crazy. So I look forward to the next time when we beat that record. I don't know what that will be or when that will be. Could be years. Hard to know. But thank you all so much. I appreciate you. Please have an excellent evening, and stay cool in this heat.